Attention A1 Trading Show fans. If you're looking to get funded, we've got a solution for you. Our partnered prop firm FX2 Funding helps traders get access to up to $200,000 in trading capital. FX2 Funding is not your average prop firm. We've chosen them as our partner because of their fair examination rules, their professional and available customer service, and they have an outstanding reputation in the prop firm space. Here's a quick look at their evaluation process. First, they don't have a time limit on their evaluations. That means that you can take your time when passing your evaluation. There's no pressure to rush your trading. Second, there is only one phase to pass in their evaluation before getting access to your funded account. Also, their evaluation fees are fairly priced and fully refundable upon passing. Once you're funded, you'll be able to keep up to 85% of your trading profits. Finally, a rule we know swing traders will love: you can hold your positions over the weekend. For a limited time, get 15% off any of their account challenges with promo code A1Trading15. That's 15% off any account challenge with code A1Trading15. If you're ready to get funded, we're dropping a link in the chat right now, and you can also find it in the description down below. So go ahead and get signed up today for 15% off with promo code A1Trading15. Now, back to the show.
Hey everybody, welcome back to another live stream here in the markets for, of course, today's ADP NFP numbers. Should be really interesting here to watch this volatility coming in. Let me just go ahead and make sure we are all on the same page. I'll show you guys the Forex Factory website's calendar. So we do have, of course, ADP non-farm employment change just came out. We got 177K, and we also have preliminary GDP. So we're going to be trading a little bit of the aftermath here. So we're going to jump right into things. I am still long NASDAQ, guys. We did have to complement yesterday's data. Again, ADP non-farm employment change came out less than expected. Now, why does that matter to you if you trade currencies, indices, or gold? Well, this has everything to do with the US dollar. So we may be seeing some further US dollar weakness here today as actual numbers that came out for employment, 177K compared to the forecasted 194K. This is down from the previous of 371K. So if you don't know what this number is, let's take a look together. Job creation is an important leading indicator of consumer spending, which accounts for majority of overall economic activity, right? Jobs are so important. This measures the estimated change in the number of employed people during the previous month, excluding the farming industry and government. So this is like an expectation for NFP. Of course, NFP is on Friday, which we will be live streaming for. And I want to encourage you guys, if you're not already, make sure to subscribe to the channel here. We will be live for that event. So again, let's take a quick look at the dollar and see how this is impacting things. And as you can probably imagine, weaker jobs numbers here this morning are driving the dollar down yet again. Job openings were incredibly, surprising to the downside, not in a good way. And that caused the dollar to just sink yesterday. And notably, the dollar was up right before the news, and then JOLTS came out, right? Which the JOLTS job opening is basically, it is a report that gives us an ahead of time look kind of at employment, right? It looks at and it says, well, how many jobs are opening? How many, signs are in the window, if you will, that says help wanted, right? Picture, all those local restaurants that have like the help wanted sign, basically JOLTS jobs came out. The job openings numbers were really disappointing, and it caused the dollar to sink pretty quick. Now, how does that impact you and I as traders? Well, obviously, if you're shorting the dollar in some way, that obviously would have helped your trade a lot, right? If you were short USD/JPY, if you were short dollar Swiss, if you were long euro dollar, if you were long pound USD, right? Some of those dollar crosses are probably having really good days here today. Look at this euro dollar breakout. the bulls have an impressive thing going on here. And you can see the remnants of my analysis. I thought we were going to go back lower. I didn't have any trades on, thankfully, but you can see we never even made it back down to the previous lows as I thought we would. In fact, what we got is the exact opposite. We got a huge breakout candle. And I love this candle here. What you can see is that look at how much strength came in. So sellers were in control, sellers were in control, sellers were in control, and then boom, this candle changed the narrative. Not only did it shoot to the upside, but there's been several opportunities here overnight, if you were trading the London session, etc., to catch this euro dollar move higher. So congrats to euro dollar bulls. This is a nice little move here. And now we have to kind of change targets around and talk about where we think price may go. And I think if you're looking at the euro, guys, pretty clear that a major level of resistance that's kind of ahead of us is this 1.091, where we previously saw sellers get really, really strong. Right? Price came up, rejected again. So it does look like now that we've got a little bullish momentum going on, a natural place for price to go would be perhaps to make a retest of that previous zone of resistance. Hopefully that makes sense, but that is, again, a short-term target where I think the euro may go with some of this dollar weakness. We've had some really, really weak US dollar news, right? Job weakness in 2 out of the 2 reports that we've really gotten this week that were notable. Jolt's job openings were less than expected, and ADP, so the estimates for NFP basically, were also disappointing here this morning. So story is playing out, guys. The dollar weakness is kind of coming back into play. And perhaps these dollar crosses have some room to move. So yeah. Anyways, yeah. So let's see. Jay says I got in on a pound Aussie last night at 1.95178 for my first trade using the EDGEFINDER. What's pound Aussie up to? Let's take a look at the pound. Frank was telling me that the pound was doing some craziness the other day. So let's take a look at the pound. So pound Aussie. 1.9517, 1.9517. Oh, very nice. Looks like you caught kind of the lows of this support zone, which is beautiful. Congrats, Jay. Love that. Yeah, again, kind of, an overall upward trend off of the daily chart. It's been a little bit under pressure recently, but pound Aussie is definitely an interesting pair to keep an eye on right now. I am personally still very focused on the NASDAQ. I do have a long position on the NASDAQ that I've had on for a little bit here. And this jobs number stuff is just really helping out my trade. I'll show you guys where I'm at with it P&L wise. I'm up $4,500 on this trade at this point. This thing has become a monster mover for me. And, we're going to see if this thing wants to keep going. My job actually from here is to manage the trade. Speaking of which, guys, I need to go ahead and trail a stop on this trade. My NASDAQ trade has really run its length here, and we've actually broken out of resistance here. So not only that, we've now started to see a nice bounce off of this pullback, and with GDP numbers coming around the corner, I think it's time that I go ahead and trail a stop loss on this one. So I'm actually going to do that here while we're on stream. So guys inside of the Discord, let me go ahead and say this. I'm going to be updating my trade here. So bear with me for the next minute or so. I'm just going to be updating my trade, and I'll break this down so everybody here on YouTube can kind of understand the concept behind what I'm doing. So basically, I entered the NASDAQ last Friday. So this is a couple days into my swing trade, and this thing is just a monster mover, right? We've just had a huge run up. I picked it up and barely missed a stop. My stop placement in this one saved me, saved by the bell, if you will. And I've got my stop loss trailed here. Again, I showed you guys, here's my P&L. So I'm currently sitting $4,600 on this trade. And my goal now is to manage the trade profitable or properly. So let's talk about this. Where am I going to move a stop loss? Am I just going to drag this stop right up here? I am actually not going to do that until we get a break through the previous highs. Okay. So at that point, I might trail stops a little tighter. But for now, what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to go ahead and move stops below this previous structure here, but give it some room. Okay. So we had a breakout of this previous resistance. My goal now is to go ahead and move this stop loss. And I'm going to go ahead and put it right around here. Give the trade some room. We'll tighten up just a little bit. Goal is to leave some room here so that if this thing kind of comes back and does a little bit of a whipsawing around that price level, I'm not going to get likely trailed out as easily. Now, at this point, if I do get trailed out, it's all good. I'm still up like I mentioned, the trade is running at like, $4,000 profit. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and trail my stop, guys. So let me just make sure I am all set on this. So I'm going 15,266 is where I've got it. So I'm going to do 266, just a little tighter there. All right, so stop loss is going right there, guys. We're trailing in this trade. And guys inside of the Discord, guys and girls, I'm going to be updating you there. Just keep an eye on the chart there. So let's go update trade. All right, I'm going to pull up the Discord so we can take a look at this together. And again, this trade has just been a monster mover. I'm going to just put in some notes here. So trailing stops a bit further here into profit ahead of GDP numbers this morning. What a runner. All right, so we are going to do this. Last thing I like to do is I like to share screenshots with the trade so that everybody kind of sees the logic, the idea behind the trade within the group. I'm just going to do this real quick while I don't usually do these on stream, but sometimes time is of the essence, and I've got to make my moves in the group. So give me a second. Okay, so we're just going to share this screenshot here. Trailing stops a bit ahead of GDP. And again, what a crazy runner this one has been. This is floating 5,550 pips right now. That is a monster move. Okay, so guys inside of the group, we just trailed stops. Update is in. Just head over to the Swing Trades channel if you're a member within the Discord channel. If you're not a member in the Discord channel and you would like to join us for all the trade callouts that Frank and I are making, if you want to see every trade we're taking, full breakdowns, explanations, we have been on fire recently. If you would like to join us, we're going to drop a link to our direct message center. If you would like to join the group, click this link in the chat right now and message us. You'll get a discount. We're doing discounts this week. So if you are interested in joining the group, click this link. We are we're actually very much on GDP numbers here now. So let's go ahead and we've got 1 minute to go here, guys. What I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm just going to, we're going to focus on the dollar here for GDP, as this will be pretty important. So we'll pull up the 15-minute chart on the dollar index. Again, we're about 40 seconds here out from GDP numbers, which will be market moving. So please be careful trading around this time. We have preliminary GDP quarter over quarter numbers coming out in 30 seconds. We will come, of course, we'll be here for the update, but then afterwards, more importantly, we will be talking about how it impacts trading setups and possible scenarios that we could trade after this. So again, let's take a look. Thank you, Jay. Appreciate you, man. Trailed. Nice. Ernest, if you're in that trade, congrats. Let's see what we get out of GDP numbers here this morning. Again, I'm going to keep the dollar index pulled up so we can keep an eye on this one and see if it does impact the trade. Here we go. All right, guys, and GDP numbers should be making their way out now. Let's see if they did, in fact, print. Pending still. And there goes a little bit of dollar slip to the downside. GDP numbers still not out on Forex Factory. And look at that. The dollar continues to sink ahead of even Forex Factory showcasing the numbers. There it is, 2.1%. That is the number, guys. Wow. Interesting. This has got to be a slap in the face to the Fed, right? Well, not a slap in the face. Actually, it's something to pay attention to for the Fed, right? GDP numbers coming out, job growth slowing. I mean, this is what the Fed has been after. And now they're getting it, right? The Fed is seeing slowdown in the economy. We've been reporting the news every day here on the live streams, and this is just another number coming out showing some signs of weakness. Is that helping my NASDAQ or hurting it? We love to see it. The NAS trade is still going further. It's like when they, like when they're like doing the like the UFC or like rings, and they say, "And still the world champion" or whatever. It's like NASDAQ right now, and still the world champion. This thing is just flying high and does not want to quit. We've just trailed stops, like I said. This single trade, this is crazy, guys. I was in, I'll tell you the numbers. I put it on my Instagram story. If you follow me on Instagram, hit me up there. I was down $35,000 on my trading account, which granted, that's a lot of money, but I'm working on a pretty large size trading capital basis. So it was nothing crazy. It was like 3 or 4%. And so anyways, I'm down this amount. This single NASDAQ trade, an index move, has brought me back to just down like 9,000. Like it has been a monster mover. And all I've done is basically, you can see at this point, we are floating. What is this? This is a 4.31 to 1 risk reward trade right now, which is just phenomenal. Rob says, you're making me regret closing my NASDAQ position at 15,050. I'm not trying to make you feel any sort of way. I'm just managing my trade. The thing is, guys, there's always a, in hindsight, right? It's very easy to be like, oh, I should have held, or I should have, could have, would have done this, right? Sometimes I trail stops and I look foolish for doing it, right? Sometimes I trail a stop. Let's say I trail the stop to break even and this market just comes back, tags me back out, and then goes on without me. That's happened to me so many times. And it's so frustrating still after 8 years of doing this, right? So yeah. Anyways, we're making up for it, right? NASDAQ is killing it here today. Let's take a look at gold here as well, see what's going on with XAU USD. Look at this. Gold is loving the news as well. And gold, man, I had a short bias on this thing. And I still fundamentally am a little bit skeptical, but this GDP number today, ooh, actually. So guys, let's think about this. Gold is going to get a bit of a bullish reading off of this today. I can tell you that right now. The EDGEFINDER calculates things like GDP. It's an AI system that basically pulls in a bunch of data and generates ideas. Well, this GDP number, I can tell you right now that if you're an EDGEFINDER user, gold is going to at least go very neutral or possibly bullish pretty soon. Why? GDP slowing is great for gold, right? Because economic slowdown means people might be afraid, and fear coming into the economy could actually be positive for gold. And that's exactly what we're seeing playing out right now from a fundamental perspective. We may be seeing a shift. Now, this doesn't sound very smart out of me because I just made a video recently about why I was pretty bearish on gold due to the Chinese slowdown and stuff like that. But I never took any short trades. It doesn't really matter if you have a bias if you don't take any trades. I was waiting for the break of this structure. So if you guys are watching gold with me, what I have been looking for, and right now I'm going to have to put a pause on this, is I was looking for this idea here, this breakout of structure to start to look to get short. But with GDP numbers coming out slower than expected, showing some slowdown in the economy, gold looks less attractive in my opinion. How would it affect oil? Well, probably not great, because a slowdown in GDP may decrease the demand for oil, right? If the economies of the world are incredibly strong, the demand for oil typically rises, which is why, some of this job slowdown and ceasing, fears around the Federal Reserve have been very positive for oil recently. This number out of the US from GDP numbers is not necessarily, I would say, bullish for oil in any way. The news is against me this week. It happens. It happens for sure. Silver, look at this. Silver even doing better than gold today. There's gold flying high, 1944 printing. What a move for gold. This is honestly a pretty impressive move to the upside. Let's take a look at some dollar crosses. Actually, let's refresh the data on the EDGEFINDER, see where we're at with stuff. Wow. Did you guys just see that? The update that I just did, I just updated our scanner, and we just had like 15 assets just go off of the chart, meaning we've narrowed our focus, which I actually love when that happens. So now we only have a smaller list of things to check out here today. This is the top setups page in the EDGEFINDER. If you don't know the EDGEFINDER, it is an AI built system that basically helps us spot better opportunities in the market. It takes into account tons of figures and generates biases, very bullish, very short bias, bearish, bullish, whatever. It basically generates ideas from all the data that we pull in. We pull in the commitment of traders data, the retail sentiment, seasonality. And I can tell you right now, gold is probably going to be making its way onto this list pretty soon. Anyways, let's take a look at some setups while we talk about it. Is the dollar yen still bullish? Well, technically, and I mean as in technical analysis wise, I don't know. Let's take a look. So 4-hour chart, I would say it's not actually, it's not actually defeated by any means. I was thinking that with the dollar weakness, we'd see a bigger move to the downside on the dollar, but it seems like yen weakness, as Ivan and I talked about earlier this week, could actually be holding up and helping to keep the dollar yen strong. This pair, if any dollar pair I was going to trade, it would probably be dollar yen on the long side if I was going to be buying dollar. But for me, that's they're just other trade setups. Like I mentioned, I'm long NAS and managing that trade. That's really where I'm focused. By the way, you just saw it pop up on the screen. Make sure to hit that like button on the stream if you're enjoying our content here. We work hard to put these streams together, these shows. We bring on guests and so on and so forth. So if you support our content, do me a quick favor. Make sure to subscribe if you're new, and also hit the thumbs up button. It really helps us out. Anyways, some other things to look at on this list, things that are popping out to me. Dollar yen is probably the most interesting dollar pair, but what about dollar CAD? Is dollar CAD worth looking at? We can see dollar CAD coming down here a little bit, but not doing terrible, right? Notice that dollar CAD, what I love about the Edge Finder here is that the $2 bullish ones here that we see are doing all right compared to lots of other dollar crosses, right? If you take a look at, let's look at, I don't know, let's say Euro USD, right? Dollar's getting crushed here today. Yet the Edge Finder picked out dollar yen, dollar CAD, which I think are, they're not doing incredible today, but doing a lot better than euro dollar, right? The euro is just crushing the dollar today. So yeah, very, very interesting. So, dollar CAD still kind of in an uptrend. If you're watching dollar CAD, this is more of a 4-hour chart trade. I would say be cautious, when you drop down to the 1 hour. It seems like it's teetering on this kind of supportive structure. So I'd be cautious there. NASDAQ, what's going on? Still staying strong. Again, my stop, guys, is trailed into profit. So I no longer can lose on this trade. In fact, this trade has been a very, very profitable one. I think we've locked in about $3,000 worst case scenario. So that is not bad. Again, back to gold for a second. Gold is really, really strong. How do you play this gold day? What do you guys think? Are you guys bullish on gold? Do you bearish on gold? Let us know in the chat real quick. Light up the chat if you would. Let me know what you think about gold. Are you bullish? Are you bearish? I know a lot of traders in the audience here are big gold traders. Again, dollar weakness here right now is coming in strong, and it does actually look poised to continue. But again, you have to be careful because NFP is right around the corner and it could change everything. Remember that NFP is the dominant piece of news that's coming out this week. So yeah. Anyways, how do you play gold from a technical analysis perspective? I think we wait for pullbacks. That would be my take, right? And we might not get that pullback. You have some supportive structure here, I would say around 1926. And if you're more of a day trader, maybe you're trading this momentum. Here's what I would say. I know day traders are going to look at this level here. They're going to look at this 38.2 and they're going to say, wow, is this a level here, right? Is this 38.2 a level to buy, right? It's not that far away. You may get an opportunity to pick it up today on gold. I would say if you're looking at this level, right? Let's zoom in just a little bit closer. We'll do this on the hourly here. So if you're looking at gold and you're saying, well, what about a pullback here? 1934, what do you think? Well, here's what I would say. Not a terrible idea. Gold looks really strong. Momentum is really hefty. There are some headwinds to gold though. So you have to be cautious both on the fundamentals side as well as the fact that on the technical side, again, I think your fair value on gold right now, in my opinion, is a bigger pullback back to this kind of area of support here. This looks so much cleaner, right? If I'm talking about kind of fair value on this trade. And when I say fair value, I'm talking about look at the way this market is trending and ask yourself, do I want to be buying way above this kind of line, this upward trend line, right? Buying up here, you're playing a risky game, right? Buying down here, I'd say you're probably playing a more calculated risky game. You're always playing risky games when you trade, but by risking small and waiting for setups that really make sense, you can set yourself up for a lot better, risk rewards and that sort of thing. I'm bullish on gold. I've been holding it since the 23rd of this month. I'm glad I'm on this trade. Congrats, Martin. That's awesome. Good for you. So yeah, I'm in a sell to the trend line. So this is also, I'm gonna tell you my take on this too. Trying to sell this back to the trend line, you may say, well, okay, I'll buy it down here. Maybe I'll just short until it gets there. You may be able to get away with that sort of trade. I know traders who trade that way and they do all right. I'm not saying you can't make money doing that, but this is probably one of the hardest trades in the playbook. Okay. People love to say, I'm going to play the pullback. I'm just going to say this, in a roaring uptrend, this is probably the hardest trade in the book. And it's what so many retail traders are doing. Let me give you guys a little bit of let's take a look at something. I bet you retail is like 50-50 on this, but let's go double check. I'm going to pull up retail sentiment and let's take a look at what the amateur traders on average are doing with gold right now. So I just added it to the list. Okay, yep, about 50-50. So retail traders are 53% long, 47% short. So there's really not a bias here. But I can tell you guys that if gold keeps going up, what's going to happen is that the retail traders are going to start piling in shorts. They're going to short this thing, short this thing, short this thing. And what you have to be very careful about with retail traders is that sometimes they short here, thinking, oh, I'm smart, I'm going to catch the pullback. And what does the market do? The market rips higher and just grabs so many traders stops on the way up. This story has played out so many times in the markets. If you guys, let me give you an example. Let me give you a more current example. Okay, so guys, look at this. Dollar yen. Let's look at dollar yen. Retail traders right now are super short. 73% of retail positions are on the short side, at least in the data that we've sourced here on the EDGEFINDER. Well, look at the dollar yen. Look at the dollar yen. Retail traders are very short on this market, and it's done just nothing but go up and up and up. Okay. So retail traders are getting destroyed in this move. So this is not a new thing. This is a recurring pattern in the markets. Take a look at, let's do another one, dollar Swiss, the opposite effect. Dollar Swiss, retail traders are like really, really long on this one. And so this one, you may say, well, now it's gone up. So retail traders are not always wrong, but I can tell you they were very long over here too, and they got destroyed in this move. So sometimes the retail trader is right, but most of the time, from my experience and watching these streams, if you watch for a while, most of the time when the market's sinking like this, they're buying the dip and holding the bag and getting crushed. So I just want to be, caution people when they think about, fading a move. Be careful, because fading a move is probably the retail trader's favorite strategy on average, at least from my experience working with traders, as well as looking at retail sentiment for all these years. We can also take a look, though, this might be eye-opening here for you guys, is the COT reports. Let's take a look now at what big money is doing. We just talked about amateur traders. Let's look for some ideas based on the commitment of traders data, which will give us an idea as to what hedge funds, banks, institutional traders, are they buying or are they selling different assets? Well, here's your update. The euro is actually probably one of their favorites right now. The euro is 75% long by institutional traders. So the euro is a top favorite on the long side. Same with oil, notably. They're very long oil. And also they're very long pound, which is really interesting. So if you're a currency trader, pay attention to that. If you're a commodities trader, if you trade gold, gold is still long bias, but let me give you guys a little bit of caution on the gold side. The most recent filing in the COT data that we have here shows that gold had a huge decrease in number of longs and a big increase in short contracts. Okay. So institutional traders are shorting gold recently. And I think that that is very worth knowing. If you're trading gold, just know institutional money recently has been selling it, at least as of the most recent filing on the COT data. And then we go back to top setup, see what's generated by the algorithm here. We have euro dollar, Aussie dollar, pound dollar. If you've been on these things have been short biased for a while in the EDGEFINDER, and they've been working out great. Dollar yen's been bullish. So possibly looking to buy some of this dollar pullback on a smaller scale, while I also hold on to my NAS position. So we'll keep an eye on all this stuff here today. So NASDAQ, I'm still long. Like I said, stops are trailed on this one. And also, guys, I should mention this. If you guys don't have a copy of the Edge Finder, it is currently on super sale. It is 35% off right now, which is one of the biggest sales that we've ever done. So if you're looking to get access to our software, access that commitment of traders data, access the retail sentiment tab, access the bank signals tab, access the algorithm generated top setups page that I'm looking at right now, as well as our gold scanner, our forex scanner, our index scanner. If any of this stuff would be helpful to you and you want to hear more about our software and our pricing options, we do have plenty of options available for people who would like to get access to our software that we've worked so hard to build. If you would like access to that 35% off while we're streaming here, click this link. This link will take you to a direct message center where you can talk to somebody on my staff about pricing options and about how you can get a copy today. Again, it is 35% off right now. That's one of the biggest sales that we've ever done. And the tools price is going up. We've added so many features and we've upgraded this AI, the back end, the scoring system. We've added, the data sourcing has been upgraded. There's so many updates on the way as well. So the price is only going up on this tool. So if you've been thinking about it, take advantage while the price is super discounted. It's 35% off. Click that link and check it out for yourself. Yeah. You click that link, like I said, you'll be connected to a real person. We have some staff members who are trained to set people up with the tool, to give them guides, tours, answer questions, so on and so forth. Back to the NASDAQ here for a second. I am still, like I said, stops are trailed. If this thing kind of comes back into play here, meaning or comes back into kind of this range after breaking out of this area, I'm going to go ahead and lock profits. So my stop is trailed. This orange line is my stop loss. My idea is, again, I picked it up on the long side off of kind of a longer term basis, but then I got down on the hourly chart, picked this one up. I liked it a lot. And, after we started to round off, found some support, and there was a longer term trend line when I first entered the trade. It's been a beautiful runner here, and just kind of watching that as well. So, yeah. NASDAQ stops are just below at 15,270 approximately, 266 to be exact. Back to gold here for a second. Gold's still staying really strong. Like I mentioned, guys, remember what I said about gold. Just be careful. A lot of traders, they get suckered into shorting a move like this, thinking, oh, this thing is way too high. It's got to come down, right? This thing could fly through the highs. Again, today's GDP numbers are weak, showing some possible bullish factors fundamentally for gold. So I do think that, off that news, we got a justified pop to the upside. Will there be a prolonged move after? Possibly. Like I said, if I was to be a buyer, I'd have to be, waiting for pullbacks, and I'd have to also see that the Edge Finder kind of flips bullish. But I think it's pretty close. US 30 humbled me. Yeah, it happens. It happens. Commodities and interest rates are keeping the Australian dollar super weak. Dojo makes sense also if you think about China, right? Chinese slowdown hurts the Australian dollar a lot because of the, Australia exports a lot of, they export a lot of basically raw materials, commodities, things like that. And China is a big demander of those things. So they trade a lot. But if China's slowing down, their demand for raw materials and hence their demand for Australian goods goes down a lot too, weakening the demand for the Australian dollar. Hopefully that makes sense. You guys know on this, on this, show on my channel, I try and, mix the fundamentals and the technicals to give you guys real reasons for why markets are moving. Everybody's so hyper fixated on just looking at charts. I think it's really important to understand the story of why markets are moving. The NASDAQ is screaming higher this week because jobs data is slowing, and jobs numbers are the lead driver of inflation. If inflation has, leading indicators that it may be, coming down because the labor market is softening, the NASDAQ is going to love that because the Fed's not going to raise rates as much. That's the idea. That's the perceived idea behind these job slowdown numbers. And it's why the NASDAQ trade for me has been a monster this week. Again, on this channel, we trade fundamentals as well as technicals. We look at macro stuff that really is moving the markets to try and find the best trading opportunities. And on top of that, look at this dollar. Oh my goodness, this dollar is so weak. On top of that, that is why we built this software. This software basically is Frank and I's creation. It is the basic idea is all of our stuff that we've done, over the years, all the economic data that we've sourced and understood and dug through. We've automated the process of collecting that data, the COT data as well, the economic figures, and we've generated output scores using an AI system that we're building to generate these ideas. This is how we find the setups that we're in. Japan and Australia were linked like that. Doja, I was talking more about China, right? China and Australia are linked. Of course, Japan, I'm sure, does plenty of trade with Australia as well. Those Pacific countries, kind of think about it geographically, right? They're very close in proximity to one another. So yeah, guys, I'm very curious. Of course, I keep coming back to the NAS trade because that's what I'm in personally. So I'm very curious to see if this trade wants to stay and play ball here. If we can keep pushing off of this support zone, that's going to be great. But if we break down underneath, it's time to call it quits and take my profit on this move. So, by the way, I just should shout out, guys, that we do this Monday through Friday. We report major news. Usually I have guests on. Today is a light stream in terms of guests. It's just me. You guys are just stuck with me. I don't have any co-hosts or anything. However, whether you know it or not, we have some wonderful producers behind the scenes that make these shows possible. And I just want to say, of course, a big thank you to my team that makes this possible. And I also want to say thank you to you guys for supporting these streams. Also, I want to encourage you, if you have not already, consider subscribing to the channel. Whether you're watching on A1 Trading right now or Trader Nick, we're streaming on both. Throw us some love, right? Hit that thumbs up button. I know we've got a very low number of likes on the stream. It would really help us out if you could with that button. It takes a half a second. Just hover your mouse or hover your finger and just hit the like button, and you'll really be helping us out to grow the show and to get our get our names out there. Took a NAS buy at 14,964. I was skeptic on holding it, but now I'm smiling. Thanks, man. 1496. Did you catch the trade with me? 1496. Oh, you're up here. Okay, nice. 964. Hey, you know what? You still caught a great move. So very nice there. I'll show you what that alert initially looked like inside of the group. I took the trade 825 off of a lower time frame, actually. It was a second chance. So I took a loss on NAS first, and then I re-entered. This was kind of the technical setup I was seeing on the lower time frames into the trade. And that just I don't know if you guys saw this, but this stop loss was like so close to getting stopped out. And I chalked it up. I was like, you know what? Looks like we're going to have to look for another try. And sure enough, I came back to the computer and we had rallied back. And I was like, wow, that was phenomenal. And then it just blessed me. And I say this lightly because, I've taken a couple losses here and there. Like I mentioned, I've been in a drawdown for August. So I don't want to try and come across as like, oh, I'm just, the markets are always blessing me, because they certainly are not. The markets do not play favorites, and they certainly were not favoriting me this month. I had a drawdown this month, which I've come out nicely of. I mentioned this early on the stream, but we were down 35K in the account, back up to minus 10K. And that's not a funded account. I don't trade funded money. I trade my own personal capital, but it is a larger capital basis. It was about a 3 to 4% drawdown on the account. So I think honestly, I've managed that pretty decently well. It's not my first drawdown, certainly will not be my last. But I'm really, ideally, if this NASDAQ keeps pushing, I'll be able to manage the trade further, lock in more. I would like to tighten the stop. What I'm looking for, guys, I would like to manage this trade by, if this thing breaks higher, I'd go ahead and trail that stop just a bit tighter, lock in a couple extra, a little bit of move there on that, and try and hold that. Entered gold at 1919 bullish. Your thoughts made me skeptical, so I closed. 1933, I bought again and still in the position. Dante, let me just say this, and for anybody who's watching my streams, my goal, I am not here to, kind of tell you what you should trade or what you shouldn't trade, or, my thought is this. I am a I'm a swing trader / day trader. I trade, the hourly chart. Anyways, I, may have a different thought than you do on some of my streams. And the point is, it shouldn't impact your trading, right? Because if you're really trading, if you're very serious about this stuff, what I say should not change what you do, right? Because if you have a strategy in place, if you've done what I've done, which is spend hours and hours and hours back testing, right? Hundreds of hours back testing charts, reading and understanding stuff in the markets, right? Back testing technical strategies, as well as studying fundamentals. I have a strategy that works for me, but it's not necessarily the only strategy. And if I say something that doesn't necessarily marry up nicely with your analysis, you should still have a strategy that you've tested, that you've done work on. Otherwise, you shouldn't be on a live account. If something I say changes everything about what you were thinking, there's something you got to think about that, right? You should have a plan, and that plan should be rock solid despite what I say. Otherwise, you shouldn't be trading live, right? Think about it. If your business plan was thrown off completely just because someone pointed out like, well, you might have a struggle with this, and you completely just abandoned your plan, your business plan was terrible, right? It wasn't really thorough. I'm not trying to call you. I'm trying to just, shoot straight with you, right? You guys know I don't yeah. Clarence agrees. Appreciate you on that. Hey, Nick, long-term follower. Hey, Nick Ebrat, I know your name and I appreciate your long-term subscribership. Just so you guys know, if you comment regularly on my stuff, we know who you are. There's 3 of us that look at all the, the comments and the feedback, myself and the 2, editors behind the scene. We see your comments and we do appreciate you. So never feel like, if you comment regularly, you are being noticed, and we do appreciate it. Hi, Nick, long-term follower here. Do you see the bulls pushing higher on GJ? Let's take a look at the pound yen. I haven't actually looked at this pair in a minute. Pound yen looks really strong. And Ivan was a big fan of talking pound yen earlier this week. I can't remember if he was long himself. Ivan, if you're in here, let us know. But I know Ivan was very, very much bullish on this pair. And it does look like it's having a nice breakout here to the upside. So check this out. Hourly chart looks pretty dang healthy. You've actually got, hey, Ivan, what's up? He's in the chat. Ivan is, I don't know if you guys know this. Ivan, before he was a stream contributor for all these streams together, he was a contributor in the audience. He was in the chat every day, tuning in, chiming in, adding stuff to the streams. And I said, you know what? This guy seems like a real jerk. Let's ask him on the stream. I'm just kidding. I didn't think he was a jerk. I was like, wow, this guy seems really, knowledgeable. I clicked on his channel and I was like, hey, Ivan, come on the show. And it's been a dream since. Anyways, yeah. So pound yen, I would say, look at this, nice breakout here. If you traded this intraday, I know the day traders probably loved this. Day traders probably loved this, right? Broke out here, retested a couple times, beautiful upside. So yeah, 184.12 is what Ivan is saying in the chat. 184.12. Did you catch this, Ivan? Wow. Ivan's trade. ET. You're like ET the robot, or the alien. Ivan's trades. Anyways, yeah, nice Ivan. Very, very nice. Pound yen is a monster mover here today. Is it going to continue? I mean, we've talked about this. Seasonally, yen weakness is kind of coming. So although it's not yet on the EDGEFINDER, it is likely to flip bullish, I would imagine, during the month of September. Should be interesting. Pound Aussie is another pound pair. If you're looking at pound pairs, I know Jay in the chat was talking about, he was talking about catching some longs on this one. Found support, the pound Aussie did right around here. Nice push off that level. What I would say is the next kind of the next trial here for pound Aussie is to see if it can actually form a bigger break, right? We've got like a reaction off of the 4 hour and the 1 hour here. The question is, can we put in higher lows and start to break through some of these kind of downward structure? Be very interesting. Something I've learned from you is better to trade after the impact of news than trying to predict the news. I'm glad that we're on the same page with that. Trying to predict the news or trading the spike you are just asking to get destroyed. It's so dangerous to do because you don't know how much the market's going to move. The spread on your broker is going to widen tremendously. So you're double in the red already, right? Wow, what's up, man? Safa, thank you very much for the 5. Hi, Nick. Sorry I'm late to the stream, and sorry if you've already spoken about dollar yen, but what are your thoughts? Do you think you have a move to 145 area? Let's look at dollar yen. Dollar yen, 145. Let's take a look. So, okay, appreciate the donation, by the way. You really don't have to donate to the streams. If you guys, if you do really want to support us, get yourself a membership. It is a great way to support the stream, because of course that is how we support this monetarily, is we sell memberships and software. Just shooting straight with you guys, these streams are not free. The team behind the scenes, we're not free. We have a lot of people who are working, dedicating their time to this. So we support ourselves through memberships and software. And so if you would ever like to support the stream, one of the best ways to do that is to pick up a membership in the group and come join the chat. Anyways, dollar yen, I would say, overall, Saf, I'll be honest with you, I'm mostly bullish on this. However, 145 is down here. And is this move possible? Actually, you know what? I think it very well could be. So 145, I've got this level here marked. Okay. So the green zone here off of the 4-hour chart is a longer term, in the longer term, I think we're in an upward trend, right? Long term, this market is pretty dang bullish, I would say. However, is there room for a pullback? I think so. All the dollar weakness recently, what I would say is obviously we're sitting at a support level as I've got marked. But if this level breaks, keep this very close on your watch list here today. Because if you're bearish on dollar yen and this level breaks, zone to zone, in my opinion, is the likely case. Of course, that's my take, but my thought would be this. You've got support. If you're bearish and you think it's, could it go to 145? My opinion would be, what I would say, what I'd be looking for price action wise would be, let me see a break, and then any pullbacks, probably room to squeeze a little bit lower in the short term. But I'm cautious on this because, again, longer term, I'm still pretty bullish dollar yen. Yields are rising substantially, which is also driving the dollar yen higher. You can see it's on the EDGEFINDER's output scores. So we're still slightly bullish on this one as well, and keeping a close watch on this. We added, by the way, guys, I don't know if you saw this. Check this out. We added the forex scanner to the EDGEFINDER. You can now officially search up currency pairs and get ideas or biases based on them. This page is being worked on right now. That's why it's loading really slow. Frank is working right now as we speak on the FX majors and minors currency pair setup. But the page here basically will show a ton of data to you very quickly on your favorite currency pair. So for example, here's EURUSD. It just loaded in. It's got a short bias. It's a bearish bias right now. And we can go line by line and take a look at why the algorithm is giving us this -7 bearish reading. And the reason is, well, look at the economic data. Inflation is hotter in the European region. However, it's all about kind of like how things are changing, right? Anyways, the output score is -7, so bearish reading on the euro right now. So if we pull up the EURUSD, now that we have that bias, I also want to add that just because the EDGEFINDER gives me a bearish reading does not necessarily mean that I just go outright short, but it helps me when I'm looking for technical setups. For me, I'm more of an hourly chart trader. So what I'd be looking for would probably be a series of, okay, reject this level, but then more noticeably, what I'd be looking for would be like, okay, support, right? Breakouts, retests. That is more my trade setup. I don't love just shorting on the 4-hour chart because, again, I'm more of like an hourly chart trader, and I like to be able to tighten my risk to reward a bit more. Thoughts on AU? Yeah, let's take a look. So we can just go, again, we've filtered this by FX majors. So I can go to the FX majors. I can select any currency pair or asset that I want and get a bias. We're very bearish on Australian dollar, and we have been for quite some time. So if we go to AUD/USD, now short term is probably seeing some upward move. Yeah. So I'm bearish on this. So again, same thing as euro. Let's start fresh here. Same thing as euro. We've been very bearish overall, but we've had a little bit of a bullish push recently with all this dollar weakness. Okay. So do we just short this level? Maybe if that's your trading strategy, if you're more of a 4-hour chart trader, if you're willing to but for me, what I'd be looking for, like I said, drop it down to the hourly. Cool, we're at a 4-hour chart, but I like to trade the hourly where I can tighten my risk to reward a little bit. So I'm looking for something like this. Breaks of structure, right? Retests, sells, retests, sells. That's more my trade setup. Same thing as euro. With the EDGEFINDER, what you can do is you can pull up anything you trade, and it will give you a bias, whether it's neutral, bullish, bearish, very bullish, very bearish. That's the cool thing about this algorithm, and this is how I find all of the trade setups that I take on my channel and in my own trading. I use this thing for everything to help me spot opportunities and to add confirmation from the fundamentals, the commitment of traders data, etc., to my trading. If you guys don't have a copy, it is currently 35% off. If you are watching the stream right now live with me, we are going to drop a chat link as we speak that will take you to a place where you can direct message us for access to the tool for a major discount that we're doing right now. If you'd like a copy of the tool that we've worked so hard to build, this is our pride and joy product. We've worked for about 1.5 years every day, 3 of us, as well as the team that supports us, all the training that we've done, all the course material and video material. We have put in so much work into building this AI generated trading ideas platform. If you would like access to it for 35% off, it is a huge discount. Click this link and I'll show you what happens when you click that link. When you click that link, it's going to take you to a direct message center where you can speak directly to someone on our team. So click that link. It'll take you here. Click chat now, and you'll be directed to a direct message center, and just click EDGEFINDER 35% off. If you click that and chat with us, you'll qualify for a major discount off of the product. You can also join us in the Discord. We also offer that as a bundled option as well. If that's something you'd like to do as kind of 2-in-1, you get huge discounts. I think it's more like 55% off if you add the VIP. So there you go, guys. Thank you very much for tuning into today's show. I hope this was helpful to you in some way or another. We went through a lot of charts and a lot of news data here today. So thank you very much for tuning in. Forex says, can I ask the time frequency? Message us. Someone on our team will give you all the answers you'd like to know about the tool. We have got a couple of trained people to help you out. Thanks for watching, guys. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and we'll see you back next time.
And that concludes today's show. Our goal at A1 Trading is to keep you up to date with the latest market coverage through our daily videos and articles. If you like our content, make sure to subscribe for more. You can get funded today up to $200K with FX2 funding. Use our code A1Trading15 for a special discount. From all of us at A1 Trading, have a great day, and we'll see you next time.